Scatter Travel TV. I'm your host, Debbie Gerber. We love to find the fun, unique, and the weird in travel. So when we go places, that's one of the things I look for. Try to find some place that is different. Well, we were in Atlanta, Georgia for a convention, and we wanted to go and do something on a day trip, something different. So I looked around and I found something from back in the days when I had children, so about 30 years ago. And one of the really hot toys at the time was Cabbage Patch dolls. Well, I found the home of the Cabbage Patch doll in Cleveland, Georgia. Cleveland, Georgia is about 88 miles from Atlanta, Georgia. And it's mostly freeways. It's easy to get to. So what we did is rented a car for the day, got our little GPS girl out. Now, I don't know about you, but I use a GPS off my phone when I travel all the time. I think it's one of the most marvelous travel inventions ever, and it's usually free if you've got a smartphone. We named our GPS girl Esmeralda. And everybody kept saying, get Esmeralda out so that we can find where we go. That's just a little side travel fun. We dialed in Cleveland, Georgia, and away we about 79 miles. But this was something unique, something that we had never done and never heard of before. Okay. We are in Cleveland, Georgia. It's about an hour and 20 minutes north of Atlanta. This is the home of the Cabbage Patch Babies. This is where they are born and cared for and adopted. So this is a really fun place to come. Be careful if you bring kids though, because they'll all want to go home with one. It's a really fun experience. You go through the whole process of seeing the baby. They get the baby, they adopt it, they get to name it. It's just a really fun place. Has a cute gift shop. Great fun place to come, and it's free. Babyland General Hospital is the place that the Cabbage Patch Babies are born. It is really good if, before you go, you know the legend behind the Cabbage Patch Baby dolls. The legend is found on their website. I would check that out before you go. It is www.cabbagepatchkids.com. But the legend is about Xavier Roberts. He is the one who started all the fad and all of the creation of Cabbage Patch Kids and babies. Xavier Roberts, as a young boy in this legend, he saw this bee-like bunny that flew through the air and it buzzed around him. And I'm just going to give you the short version because you need to read it and then you need to go to Babyland and see how it goes. But he follows this little flying bunny bee and he follows it and it goes through a waterfall. And then pretty soon it comes back out and it acts like it wants him to go with him. So he goes into the cave and goes in behind the waterfall and he goes into the cave. And guess what he finds? There's these crystals. The crystals were magic. They turned into, when these little bees, the cabbages, were little babies. There was little babies and little kids that came out of them. Little Cabbage Patch Kids came out of the crystals. And one of them asked him, are you here to find us homes? They wanted to go live with somebody and have somebody be their mommy and daddy. And he thought about it and he said, yes, I will. So he went to Cleveland, Georgia, and he built the Babyland General Hospital. It's a beautiful white mansion. And you can go there and see how they are made, and you can adopt one. This is the place for Cabbage Patch adoptions. There's every kind you can imagine, and they are all attended by nurses. They have special nurses there. We are at Babyland, the home of the Cabbage Patch Babyland Hospital, and this is the admitting nurse. Isn't this cute? If you decide to adopt one, you can watch it be born in the crystals under the tree.
Use large amounts of TLC. Can anyone tell me what that is?
Tender loving care.
Tender loving care. We got some doctors in the house. That's great. The little bunny bees, that you see flying high above our magical patch. They sprinkle their pollen down over the crystals that cause Mother Cabbage to go into labor.
And the nurse is there, and you can watch it be born. And then they'll take the baby that you wanted and take them into the nursery. And in the nursery, they're going to powder them and diaper them and put them in an outfit that you choose, wrap it in the blanket, and then you will get taken to a...
We're going to do a checkup. That's so funny.
When it goes to the baby, how do you want to watch this?
Look at baby powder.
Special room where the nurse will interview you and sign adoption papers so you can take the Cabbage Patch baby home with you, or Cabbage Patch kid. It's a fun place to visit. Can you imagine going somewhere that you could have that experience for your child or your grandchildren, especially since you can tell them that you probably had one of those Cabbage Patch kids or Cabbage Patch dolls when you were their age. One of the really great things to do as a couple, as grandparents, as parents, is to share something that was important in your day to you. I know that as a mother, one of the really highlight toys, or one of the big toys that was all the rage, kind of like the American Girl doll is all the rage today, Cabbage Patch dolls were all the rage, and they were awesome. They were soft. They felt real. And everybody wanted one. My daughter wanted one. So that's where we got introduced to the Cabbage Patch dolls. Now, to be able to go back and see the museum and the mansion there, the biggest thing that was really interesting to me personally was how much some of those dolls were worth. Some of those dolls, if you still have them and they're in great shape, $35,000. I mean, they're very collectible. They're a very specialized doll now. You can go there and they will make the doll that you want, and you can go through the whole process. I mean, that's not something you do when you just go pick a toy off the shelf. This is like having an entire experience of seeing it and becoming yours. It's an awesome experience. I would suppose that, like, if you were going to adopt a child and you had other children, this would be an amazing thing to go and do with them, because they would see the whole process, and then as you adopted a child, it would feel like they already knew the process. I just think it's a really awesome place to go. Georgia has many things to go and see, but if you come from an era when Cabbage Patch dolls were in your life, this is something great and awesome to go and do. And if not, and you've got young children, great place. The Babyland also has all kinds of accessories that go with Cabbage Patch dolls and that are just fun, even little purses that are they just have really fun, nice things there. It's a great stop it's a great day trip or a stop along your way. After we finished at Babyland, we continued on to Helen, Georgia, which is only about another 9 miles further north from Cleveland. In Helen, as you come just before you get into Helen, there is the most wonderful little winery. The Haversham Winery has a self-guided tour. It has wine tasting. It's got specialty foods, and it's got gifts. And so that's a really fun stop. It is in a little village that's a half a mile just south of Helen, and it's called the Nakuchi Village. It's just a little area there that's got a couple little shops. One of them is the winery. One of them is the antique mall, which is right next to the winery. The antique mall is really cool. It's like this old house that they've turned into an antique shop, and it just has lots of just really fun antiques in it. It's a great stop on your way into Helen. After you finish there, you continue on into Helen. I have to tell you in this next section about Helen that I don't know where my mind was, but I did not take any pictures. It is beautiful. Get on the internet, get on their website, and check them out. Take a look at the pictures that I talk about. I am so sorry. Most of the time I always have pictures. This time I don't. But Helen's such a fabulous place that it's worth talking about, even if I don't have the pictures. Their website is www.helengeorgia.com. Thanks to a great person who was able to share their photos and allow people to use them on the internet, Mike Gonzalez, the coffee, as I have used his photograph through a license that he gives to use that. It's also called the Alpine Helen because it is a recreation of a little Alpine Bavarian village. It is so cute. They have the cobblestone walkways. They've got little theme. Everything, all the buildings in the little downtown are all look like an Alpine village. They have little theme shops. We went to a glass blowing shop. We went to a chocolate shop. We went to a nut shop. There was just all kinds of little shops there that were really, really fun. It is located at, it's just like being in an Alpine village, like you've gone somewhere totally different than Georgia. Really cool. This is a place that it's just charming. It's just fun. One of my very favorite things in Helen is the float trip. I was so sad that we were short on time and we didn't have enough time to go on it. We stood on the bridge that went over the Chattahoochee River. And, you know, that's famous too. And you could watch the people just floating down, and it was not fast. It was just a nice little float trip. Kids and everything, they all were on tubes just floating the river. I thought, what a fun thing to do. And they have hour trips and 2-hour trips. They provide you with the tubes, and you can just pick it up right down there by the downtown area. They will take you up on buses, and then you come down to where their place is at the end in Helen, and then you get off. So if you want to have a really fun experience, go to Helen, go on a river raft trip, go shopping in this little village, maybe hiking and camping, but they also have the little horse-drawn carriages there. So there's a lot to do in Helen, Georgia. This would complete our day trip because by then it would be time to go back to Atlanta if you were going to do it as a day trip. But really, you could probably spend a day or two just up in Helen. When we travel, we have kind of a family tradition. If you're a Gerber, there is always an ice cream stop somewhere. We love ice cream. So on our way back from Helen back to Atlanta, we stopped to get an ice cream cone. Traditions are important. Always have, you need to just come up with, if you don't have family traditions, you need to come up with some family traditions that you can carry on. It kind of glues together everything. Traditions combine and you can always count on. And so ice cream might not be this huge tradition, but for the Gerber family, it's a big tradition. It's well known. Grandpa could pile an ice cream cone. You go places where buffets and things where you could make an ice cream cone. He could pile an ice cream cone higher than anybody I had ever seen. It was like a tower. Loved ice cream. All of his kids loved ice cream. Our kids do and our grandkids do. So a stop for ice cream was in order. We found a place, happened to be McDonald's. We stopped in and just thoroughly enjoyed that experience. We shared that with our friends. They went with us on this trip. And so at the end of the day, we had an ice cream cone to end our day trip out from Atlanta, Georgia. It was a long day. It was a fun day. Visit Cleveland, Georgia, Helen, Georgia, and return to Atlanta for more fun and excitement there. Visit our website for travel gear, for booking your next trip, or for learning about more places and destinations to travel to. Travel hints, tips, and information available at www.scattertravel.tv.